Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. So it took me a while, but I've made a new build, a Chatterbox build, which is one of the oldest exotics in the game. So previously they've actually tweaked the talent, so the RPM is actually quicker. I believe it's actually quicker than the Ouroboros SMG you get from Paradise Lost. Yeah, it's actually pretty good. You can get 5 stacks. I've got a little trick for you as well, how to get 5 stacks before you start missions. I'll show you that in a minute. But you like my content, guys? Like and subscribe. And let's get straight into this video. So, the first piece of gear is the mask, which is the Striker mask. We have it on the red core, 15% weapon damage. We have 12% crit damage, and the mod is 6% crit chance because we're trying to hit the 60% cap on the SMG, which we do with this build. So yeah, with Striker, 2 pieces 15% weapon handling, 3 pieces 15% rate of fire, which is even more with the Chatterbox. And weapon hits increase total weapon damage by 0.65%, stacking up to 100. 1 stack lost per second between 0 and 50 stacks. 2 stacks lost per second between 50 and 100. Striker is by far the top gear set in the game in my opinion, and then maybe Hunter's Fury. But yeah, it's OP. So just try this build out, guys, it's actually pretty OP. Next piece is the holster, which we have weapon damage again, and we have crit damage as the attribute. Third piece of Strikers is the knee pads. We have the same, we have 15% weapon damage and crit damage again. Last piece of Strikers is the gloves. We're not using the backpack or the chest, I'll show you that in a minute why. But we have weapon damage and crit damage again. So the backpack we're using is the Memento exotic backpack. It's by far one of the best exotics in the game. We get 15% weapon damage, we get an armor core and a skill tier, which them two help towards our shield, so our shield's a bit more tanky. So the mod we have is crit damage, and if you don't know what this backpack has, the talent is kill confirmed. Enemies you kill drop a trophy on death. Collecting trophies provides both a short and long term buff, the first of which scales with the number of core attributes equipped and lasts 10 seconds. So red cores, 5% weapon damage. We have 6 cores, 30% weapon damage. And we have 1 blue core, so we only get 10% bonus armor when we pick up the trophies. We have 5% skill efficiency, which we have 1 skill tier, so it's decent for the shield. We have a bit more health on the shield, and whatever skill you want, the other skill. For every trophy collected, you get an additional 1% weapon damage and 1% skill efficiency, and 0.1% armor regeneration for 5 minutes, which is 3% armor regen. And we will get 30% weapon damage and 30% skill efficiency, so skill haste, skill health, status effects. We have all the yellow attributes, that's what you get with it. And maximum stack is 30. It doesn't take long to get 30 stacks, honestly. 30 kills, you'll get it in about maybe half a mission. But that's the backpack we're using. Last piece of gear we're using is a Grupo Sombra chest piece. This might be a bit hard for you to get, but it wasn't too hard. So core attribute is 15% weapon damage. With Grupo Sombra, you get 13% crit damage, which we're trying to stack into as much crit damage as we can. We have 6% critical hit chance and 12% critical hit damage, and the mod is 11.9% critical hit damage. Talent I've decided to use is Intimidate. While you have bonus armor, gain 1 stack each second up to max of 9. Each stack increases weapon damage by 4% to enemies within 10 meters. If you lose bonus armor, you lose your stacks. It's pretty easy to get, so when you kill an enemy, because you have Memento on, they'll drop trophies. When you pick up the trophies, you'll get bonus armor, which will proc Intimidate, which Intimidate gives you a hell of a lot of damage. And the stacks are really quick as well. But what we're trying to do with this build is, you don't want blue cores, you want all reds, because the quicker you kill the enemies, the more chance of the Chatterbox replenishing its mag. Because say you had, I know, 4 blue cores, you'd never get the chance of reprocking your talent, and it'd just be annoying. So 6 reds I'd highly recommend using. You just have to get used to the playstyle. So yes, the main weapon is the Chatterbox. It's pretty easy to get. I've got 12% expertise on it, but we have SMG damage, crit chance, and damage toxic cover. And the talent, they did change it a little bit previously. When you reload, rate of fire is increased by 25% for each enemy within 15 meters for the duration of that magazine. So this will work for Intimidate as well. Max stack is 5, which is just ridiculous. the rate of fire you get from this gun. You'll hear it in the gameplay. Kills refill 50% of your magazine. So we have critical hit chance, rounds, weapon handling, and crit damage again. Secondary gun, you can use whatever you want. I've just got rock and roll to get stacks with Striker, but you really don't need it because of how fast the Chatterbox shoots. Your stacks will come up really quick. So I just have a shotgun damage, damage to armor, 10% damage targets out cover. Sorry about the dog, guys. My dog won't shut up. 50% magazine capacity and just crit chance mods. Pistol really doesn't matter what you use. I've just got the card custom on because I was using my recent healer build I made. If you want that healer build, it'll be at the end of the video. Pistol damage, skill tier, and just in sync, which gives you 15% weapon damage and skill damage. And if you shoot an enemy and your skill shoots them at the same time, you get doubles to 30%. First skill I'm using is Crusader Ballistic Shield. We're tier 2, so it's a little bit tanky. It's got a little bit of health. You won't have loads, but you have a little bit. We have damage targets out of cover, basically, damage bonus. And the other skill I've got is Reviver Hive. You can really use whatever skill you want. Your tier 1. Quick breakdown, guys, is we have 4-piece Striker. We have a Grupo chest with Intimidate, and we have Memento backpack, which gives you bonus armor, loads of weapon damage, and loads of skill efficiency. We have the Chatterbox. We have the rock and roll. You can use whatever second weapon you want. And the sidearm, I've just got a card custom. I'd recommend putting something with killer. Will give you more crit chance and crit damage. Maybe the orbit if you can get it from conflict or named caches or the dark zone. I don't have modifiers active in the gameplay, so if you put modifiers on, you'd be even more OP with this build, which is kind of insane because the gameplay you're seeing is heroic with a few directives on, and I'm shredding through the enemies like you can see. And yeah, it's pretty OP this build. You want to try it. So that's just a quick breakdown. So these are the stats, guys, yeah? So crit chance, I only have 58% because I haven't maxed my stats out, but you will get 60% if you max all your attributes. Crit damage is 154.9%, which is pretty high for a Striker build. And yeah, they're the main stats you really need to know, just them two really. Everything else you don't really need to. So, specialization, we're using Gunner. The reason we're using Gunner basically is just the 10% armor on kill. You can use the Banshee Pulse if you want to, like I said, the other skill, you can use whatever skill you want. You do get your ammo back every 60 seconds, 10% of it, and after you get a kill, you get 5% rate of fire, which is pretty decent as well, makes your RPM even quicker. And you have SMG damage, shotgun damage, and pistol damage, but like I said as well, your second gun you can use whatever you want. All you're really basically using is just the Chatterbox, because if you do 6 red calls, you'll always get a kill within that magazine, so it'll just replenish and you won't have to reload basically, unless you lose your stacks, and you'll have to get the stacks again at the talent. But I'll show you that little trick I was going to show you a minute ago. Like I said, basically before you start a mission, I'd recommend this in just solo the Chatterbox, because in groups you're not gonna really kill like an enemy with a mag, especially if you're in a 4-man team, unless you use the chest piece for Striker. So you see at the bottom I don't have the stacks active, so I'll shoot once and I'll reload. You see all these targets here, if you reload in the corner here, you see my stacks have gone to max times 5, and then you can fast travel to a mission. So let's just fast travel here, and these should still be active. Yeah, fast travel to the mission, you see my stacks are active, so I'll just shoot my gun now for you. Insane RPM. That's just a little trick you can use if you're solo or in group, whatever. Yeah, but it's pretty handy. So that's the build, guys, and I would recommend giving it a go, especially if you're solo. If not, if you want to play it in a 4-man group, replace the chest piece with a Strikers chest piece and maybe the backpack, but that's up to you. Let me know what you think of it in the comments, guys. Thanks for watching, and happy hunting.